Hello, and welcome to the ProjectWise Administrator Advanced Accreditation course on advanced workflows. In this group of lessons, we learn how to configure advanced workflows using an Excel workbook. Before we dive into the workflow rules engine itself, we need to learn about some global workflow settings in a data source. In this video, you will review key data source settings affecting workflows. 2 data source settings affect workflows and versions. The settings are documented in the ProjectWise Administrator reference section in the ProjectWise Administrator Help located on docs.bentley.com. The 2 settings include Documents, Creation and Workflow, and Versions, put created version into first workflow state having create permission. In the Documents category, the Creation and Workflow setting provides options for the creation of documents and folders with a workflow assigned when the user creating the documents may or may not have create privileges for that workflow or the workflow state. The default setting is that Creation and Workflow is disabled. If a user attempts to create a document in the folder that has a workflow assigned to it, ProjectWise attempts to place the new document in the folder state, that is, the lowest state in the workflow to which any documents in the folder are currently assigned. If the user does not have the create permission for that state, then the document will not be created and the user will receive an error message. When Creation and Workflow and put created document into first workflow state having create permission are on, and a user attempts to create a document in a folder that has a workflow assigned to it, ProjectWise places the new document in the first state in the workflow that the user has the create permission. For example, if a workflow having 4 states is assigned to a folder, and the third state of the workflow happens to be the first state in which a particular user has the create permission, then whenever the user attempts to create a document in that folder, that document will automatically be placed in the third state of the workflow. When Creation and Workflow and folder state does not prevent document creation or on, and a user attempts to create a document in a folder that has a workflow assigned to it, ProjectWise first tries to place the new document in the folder state. If the user does not have create permissions for that state, ProjectWise then attempts to place the document in the first state of the workflow that is assigned to the folder. If the user does not have create permission for that state, then the document will not be created and the user will receive an error message. In the Versions category, 1 setting affects workflows in the data source. Put created version into first workflow state having create permission. This setting is disabled by default, which means a new version is placed in the same workflow state as the previous version. When this setting is on and use current state if permission is granted is off, a user creates a new version of a document. ProjectWise places the new version in the first state in the workflow that the user has the create permission. When use current state if permission is granted is on, and a user creates a new version of a document, ProjectWise places the new version in the same state that the original document is in, if the user also has the create permission for that state. If the user does not have the create permission for that state, then the document will not be created and the user will receive an error message. For your project, the project team and you have agreed to use the defaults for the data source settings. Be sure to agree on the configuration changes to support your users in a production situation. Congratulations! You now know which data source settings affect workflows and why it is important to get buy-in from your user base. We are now ready to learn why a workflow rules engine workbook is needed.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.